really, really beautiful girl. And I don't think she wants to have anything to do with Shaun Combs. It's an embarrassment. And I wouldn't either, right? Give the girl a break. Has there been any new court filings lately by the feds or Diddy's lawyers? I heard the court case got moved up. I heard that too, by just a few days. But it's very, very confusing because the court date didn't move, right? The court date is when we're going to start doing voir dire, and it has not left. You know, I mean, the time is still the same. We're looking at Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May. We start voir dire. Voir dire is the process where you bring in the jurors and you ask them questions. Do you know who Shaun Combs is? Did you happen to see the video of Cassie Ventura getting the crap kicked out of her? If somebody says they saw that video, I would imagine they're not going to want them on the jury. I would imagine that Nick, you're funny. I'm not going to put that up. So has there been any files? As far as filings go, what they said was they're going to have everything over, including, this is what is being reported. Any indictments, superseding indictments, anything, were all going to be done by the 14th instead of the 17th, right? Or the 13th instead of the 17th or something like that. And I watched this on a channel that I happen to, that I happen to have a little bit of faith in. So this is what you're talking about when you're asking about things like the enterprise letter and all of that. They got around, they don't want to hand over anything to the defense until they have to. At the very last moment, they want to go, all right, here's what we're doing. They're going to hold that off until the very last moment, which is going to be the second week in March. I'm not exactly sure when because it could be the 17th, it could be the 14th. But it's going to, this is a great question, isn't it? Who's worried about what another kid's child is wearing? Where are they going to find anyone who has seen that? Where are they going to find anyone who hasn't seen that video? You'd be really surprised. There are people on this planet that don't watch television. There really are. In fact, there's a lot of them that read books or do whatever. And there are people who don't know who Shaun Diddy Combs is. I mean, if you consider what I do for a living, I very often have to say to people, I create content. And they'll go, really, what's hot right now? And I'll say, Diddy. And they'll go, who? Oh, is he an athlete? There are people on this planet that don't know who Shaun Combs is. Obviously, none of them are here because here we talk about this an awful lot. But I got to do this. And I'm not trying to pick on anybody, right? But I got to do this. Why are you worried about what another person's child is wearing? Because the people who should be worried about it, their parents, aren't. And what happens is we create a culture where 7- and 8-year-olds get objectified because of the things that they wear. If their parents are stupid enough to send their 14-year-old girl to school wearing nothing but a thong in a see-through shirt, then maybe somebody has to step up and care about what another person's kid is wearing because the parents are effing up big time. And we're seeing this, right? This is something that is absolutely an issue, at least in my country, the over-sexualization of kids. You remember the Balenciaga fiasco, you know, where you have kids wearing S&M outfits in advertisements. Unfortunately, if parents did what they were supposed to, we wouldn't need to worry about it. Now, look, sometimes you just have to say, well, look, it's the parent. The parent can do it, but when it starts to get into areas where there's a reason that we see the sexualization of, when I was 14 years old, 14-year-old girls looked 14. We really are getting to a point these days where I think it's dangerous. But what do I know? I'm not the brightest or not the sharpest tool in the shed. Thank you, Connie Russell. You are appreciated. I really appreciate that. Why, thank you. You know what? If you don't have any haters after you, well, then you quite simply aren't doing your job. We get over the target, so to speak. We're bringing things up right now that people don't want to see brought up. You remember this jackass Eminem? Let me tell you who Eminem is. And I don't mean Marshall Mathers. I mean the guy that was here earlier. We've got a lot of people that are really pissed off that I'm talking about the Royal Order of Jesters. We got a guy that made a video the other day and admitted that he's being paid by a Royal Order of Jester to trash me. I love that, man. I freaking love that. Go make all the videos you want and pay somebody to do it. The people you're paying are going to get 6 people to watch it. And even if you don't, I hope 1 million people see it. so that I can bring to attention the fact that these people are paying a smear campaign against me, against my fiance, against my brother, against my partners. That's a good thing. It means that we are over, right? We are over the target. We're dropping bombs that are hitting. You know what? It used to. I used to be worried about this. Now it's a badge of honor. When somebody sends me an email and goes, hey, man, I saw a video about you. I go, yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And you know what's great, too? This is a fact. We talked about Diddy. I can talk about Diddy all I want. It's never an issue. I talk about Voldemort. Everything changes. I get demonetized. I get strikes. Like all of these things that happen. I can trash Diddy. And we watch the same thing happen with NBC. Right? We watched the Diddy documentary. Peacock trashed Diddy. He's suing him for $100 million for what they did to him in that documentary, right? He's bummed out about it. But boy, when they start talking about Voldemort, everything changes, right? They don't talk about that cat. He is now, as I believe the great Jaguar Wright said, corporate sponsored PDF file. Feel me? It's just a corporate sponsored weirdo. Diddy was our guy. They sponsored him for decades. He got to do whatever he wanted to do. Now, why did he get to do that? This is great speculation, man. I love this stuff. Why was Diddy chosen? I don't know. Maybe he handed over pictures. Maybe the people that kept him out of jail said in exchange for that, and by the way, this is speculation. I'm just speculating. Speculation. Maybe it's an Epstein kind of a thing, right? I get in trouble, you smooth it out. In exchange, I'll give you some pictures of a professional athlete wearing a dress and taking it up his backside. Do whatever you want with it. Get him to throw a couple of games, get him to do whatever. Last time I said this, people went nuts. Man, I hope LeBron James sues you. Well, I didn't say nothing about LeBron James. But you ain't got to be a genius to say, if a guy goes to a party and gets pictures taken of him in compromising positions, and what he does for a living is play football or play basketball or play baseball. You know, people bet on these sports. You got any idea how much it's a $1 trillion industry? You know, sports betting is one of the sickest things out there, man. It would not be hard to get somebody to shave a few points. Now, I'm not saying he ever did it. I'm saying that if you are an athlete of that caliber, you should probably make sure that people don't get pictures of you doing naked stuff. Because if they get pictures of you doing naked stuff, they're going to ask you to do something so that they don't share it. And the logical thing would be, go ahead and win, but just don't win by 14, bro. You know, you're favored by 14. Win by 6. You don't have to have a great game. I still want you to win. I don't want you to do I don't want you to do anything else, right? I wouldn't want you to lose. I would never do that to you. I heard another channel call him Voldemort too. Isn't that cool? The artist formerly known as Beyonce's husband. I don't say his name because when I say his name, the big red button demonetizes my videos. I can say Diddy, 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 but if I start talking about Carter, it leads you to believe that maybe he's still being protected. I don't know. Well, that's logical. Emery says LeBron was cleaning the room. That's why he had a maid outfit on. And I'll tell you what, that's a legitimate reason. I had not heard anybody come up with a good one yet. He obviously was cleaning the room. I'm going to say this every time somebody brings this up. I'm not freaked out because allegedly, and I don't know if there's any truth to this because I can't find it, but when we first started reporting on it, they say the picture came back up. In other words, what did they say? It's a picture reappeared from years ago, resurfaced, a resurfaced photo of him in a dress. And they started talking about it. And allegedly he said, maybe he had a couple too many drinks. He was partying. He had too many drinks. And, you end up in a dress. You can see that, right? You can see that. My response was, what are you, 6'7"? Huh? Seriously, how tall is that cat? What's he like, 6'6", 6'7"? Man, you 6'7", 250 pounds, and you just happen to have a maid outfit laying around that would fit you? I don't know, man. I think that takes prior planning. I'm 6'1", 200 pounds. I don't think I'm going to fit in any of these things right off the shelf. I think I'm going to have to order one. Why you got one of those laying around? I'll tell you why, because there ain't no party like a Diddy party. Feel me? Ain't no party like a Diddy party. There's someone just asked, what do I think about Busta Rhymes? I like listening to Buster talk about the early days of Diddy and all of that stuff. I really do, because there are some of the old school guys don't care, legit don't care. And Gene Deal's the same way. Gene Deal will just sort of put that out, right? Diddy custom made that. Yeah, I would imagine that he had to have a little help from Diddy. He's 6'8", says Charles Lewis. Well, thank you. 6'8", right? Probably got a what, size 14 pump? I'm sure you can go down to Famous Footwear and say, I'm looking for a pump in pink, a size 15 if you got one, maybe extra wide. Yeah. You know what? Ain't no Diddy party no more. Somebody write that down. It needs to be on a t-shirt. Florida native says, I only trust Cat Williams. Trust yourself. Common sense goes a long way. And we kind of, I do happen to think that Busta Rhymes, I got nothing on Busta Rhymes. I've not found anything, and I haven't found anybody that's alleging that Busta Rhymes is doing that stuff. I think Busta wanted to make music, man. I think a lot of the early guys, I look at Al B. Shore the same way. When Uptown Records was just getting going, it wasn't about driving a really cool car. They wanted to be to hip hop what Motown was to rock and roll. And they did it. They did. That was the biggest label in hip hop. Uptown Records was a little boutique shop that was killing it. Bad Boy isn't the same thing. You think there was a bunch of people that were super, super concerned about making records? They probably were. But the owner was really concerned about becoming powerful. I think that for Diddy, this was always about power from Jump Street. You've heard the story from his best friend. He says he came out there and Diddy went snap and pulled out this check that had been crumpled and in his pocket. He said it was for $65 million or $55 million. It was a check that had been written out to him by his mentor, Clive Davis. Cloven hoof, Clive Davis. You're done. That's enough money, right? That's enough money. 65 million, you're going to go and start your own record label. If you made $2 million a year, you're living really good, making $2 million a year. This wasn't about that for him. This was about being the most powerful. This was, so you guys know what this was about, right? What about naked basketball and the losers becoming the bottoms? This has been alleged, right? And it has been alleged that Jamie Foxx was the one that leaked this. And one of the reasons that Jamie Foxx ended up in the hospital for such a long period of time was because he leaked the naked. And it's funny because the guys that allegedly denied this, do you know what their denial was? They went, no, man, there was no naked basketball. We weren't playing like 5-on-5 naked versus not. No, that we were playing horse. What? They were shooting horse. You guys familiar with this? If you miss, that's an H. If you miss the next one, it's an O. And you take a shot and everyone else has to hit that shot. Whoever misses gets a letter. And once you spelled out the word, you had to take off some clothing. I'm sorry, how's that better? So men were getting together and taking their clothes off when they lose shots. I'm not going to lie to you. That sounds kind of gay. And I don't care. I mean, that's cool. But again, you would have a lot of people there that weren't gay. You understand how important that is for Diddy, because what could you get, right? What could you do to make somebody go against, like you, again, if you believe my theory that this guy gets off making people do things they don't want to do, what could be better than getting somebody to do something sexually that goes against, in other words, if you're straight, getting somebody to do something gay, or someone that's gay getting him to do something that's straight. If I'm right, if he's trying to get off on seeing people do things they don't want to do, that's got to be the top of the food chain. Right? I mean, this is literally what makes you you. It's from birth, I believe. What you're attracted to, that is your basic built into you. That's why I never ripped on someone whose sexuality was different than mine. I was born with mine. They were born with theirs. It's got nothing to do with me. But I can't imagine, you hear people in prison. These are jokes that come up all the time. How much would it cost you to do X, Y, and Z? Because they're trying to think of something what would be the most offensive thing that you could ever get? Well, asking somebody to do something that goes against their proclivities is pretty heavy. Why can't ASAP Rocky produce the prop gun he used? Closing arguments. The jury is out for me on. There's a lot of weird crap going on in the ASAP. Yeah, he refused the deal. I heard that. Tommy, I have to say you're a really great speaker and you don't go off subject. Of course I do. Kudos for all the hard work you're putting into all these channels. It's hard just for me to try to follow. I don't go off. My cat's named Squirrel because I can't stay on subject. That's why you guys named my cat Squirrel. Wow, it's crazy. Didn't Jamie Foxx say he was just joking about Diddy putting him in the hospital? Well, it depends on when you hear him. And it also is very odd depending on... so when he went up on stage, he didn't sound like he was joking about it. He really did not sound like he was joking about it. Since then, he has said things like, I said it in a comedy show. I do believe wholeheartedly that, look, the FBI went to see him in the hospital. When's the last time the FBI came to visit you in the hospital? Has that happened to you? Because it hasn't happened to me. By the way, let's assume they really did. Everybody reports it. So let's assume that the FBI actually went to the hospital to talk to Jamie Foxx while he was out there. You think that when Jamie Foxx hit the hospital called the FBI and said, hey, just in case you're wondering, Jamie Foxx is in here. It looks kind of weird. Or do you think Jamie Foxx called from the hospital and said, you need to come down here. I think I've been poisoned. Because I promise you, that makes a lot more sense than the FBI spontaneously deciding to investigate the fact that an actor was in the hospital. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I think Jamie Foxx called the FBI, and I think he said, hey, man, this man tried to poison me. Now, he would have a vested interest in denying that. Why? Because Diddy's a frightening guy, allegedly. If you believe the things that people are saying, then you got to believe this guy's capable of having you removed from planet Earth. There are people who allege, I can't prove this, but there are people who allege that he bought the casket for his wife, for Kim Porter, prior to Kim Porter's death, shortly before Kim Porter's death. Who buys a casket for somebody that's in their 40s? I mean, if that's the truth, and if you are of the belief that that this man has unalived some people, then Jamie Foxx has got a lot of reasons to not admit that he thinks he was poisoned. But he sure as hell talked about it on stage as if he was. And I think, I believe that he believes he was poisoned by Shaun Combs. Yeah. The thing is that it's crazy is, I know since the last time we were here, you guys, I did a show about the making of the band, the boy band that Diddy put together. As you guys know, he did Danity Kane in making the band. And then he did Diddy Dirty Money. And the other, I believe, was called, what is it, Day 26. Is it Day 26 or Year 26? Day 26. Yeah, I think it's Day 26. Anyway, these guys were on with DJ Vlad. And DJ Vlad was doing an interview with them. And when they brought up Diddy, one of the guys in the band broke down. And he said some cryptic stuff like, he's just an artist that was trying to make music. He doesn't know why anybody would do him the way that he has been done. And he said that all he ever wanted from Diddy was an apology for, I can't tell you what. And when he said, I can't tell you what, the world assumed, although he didn't say it, that he has a pending case, right? That he had a pending case. But the entire band broke down. 5 buff, big, tough black dudes, all weeping because of what had been going on. And God knows what it is. You know, we don't exactly know what happened, but all of us can kind of can imagine it. And he says to Vlad, look, the last time you saw me and I was on here, man, I didn't look right. I wasn't cute, which is an odd thing for a grown man to say anyway. But he said, I wasn't cute. And Vlad showed a clip of film of this gentleman standing behind him during an interview. And he had a look on his face. There's no other way to say it. He had a look on his face like he had been essayed a few minutes earlier. I don't